Hey, how's it going? And welcome back to another video. So what we're going to be doing today is going through how we generated over 300K for a apparel brand based off one split test. Okay, so what I'm going to do is break down the full process of how we gathered this result, how we got from ideation to execution, and then how we determined this test to be a winner. Okay, so this is a eight-figure apparel brand and one of many that we work with. Our team absolutely crushed it for this one, and this was all about looking and understanding the type of customer that they serve. Okay, so with jewelry and with clothing, what you want to do is make sure that you have a very visual experience. So for these types of categories and these types of, let's say, niches or niches, wherever you're from, you have to understand that it is a very, very visual shopping experience. When people come to buy clothing and jewelry, they are all about returns, size guides, how the product fits, the materials, the type of product shots you're showing. So is it lifestyle? Is it like actual product shots by themselves? And how these are all shown across the buyer's journey. Now, what you also have to understand is that these products have to be, you have to show how many colors you have. If you have five colors of one product, okay, there's no point having five different product pages, not linking them at all between each other. How does the customer actually then compare it? Okay, so what I'm going to do today is sort of show why we sort of come up with these ideas. Now, something that we always do is that exactly what I said for a brand. We will look at and understand who the customer is. So for this type of brand, their customer is around 35 years old plus females. Okay, so it's a 100% a demographic that spends more money than others. They can they can be convinced a wee bit easier, but they'll also be more susceptible to like what they like to call as scams. So you have to understand that you have to make everything very, very professional, backed by social proof, make the customer experience as easy as possible. That goes across all demographics, but especially this one. Now, if we actually get into this result, okay, what we done was we generated over 300K, sorry, for a new customer revenue for an apparel brand using a heat map analysis. Now, that is new customer revenue. That is like not even counting the total revenue that we will actually implement and incrementally increase through this test. So what I mean by that is through your ads, okay, through a customer coming to your site, you generate a certain revenue, okay, a certain amount of revenue per visitor, which is a metric we all use, revenue per visitor, profit per visitor, okay. As you can see here, we increased the client's revenue per visitor on this element by 11.4% with one test. Now, that means that for every single client that comes on this, or every single customer that comes on this client store, that we generated nearly $1 per customer. Okay, so again, if they have 300,000, or if they have 300, or maybe let's say if they have 30,000 customers per month that buy, and we can generate an extra dollar per customer, that's a ridiculous amount of revenue. Again, if they have 300,000 customers that buy, okay, and you can see how the trend kind of goes along. This is why CRO is so important for e-commerce brands, is the fact that it's evergreen. When we implement a winning test, that is only the winning test based off the current traffic. So as this brand scales, they will actually make more money from already visiting traffic. So we're not, generating new traffic. We're not bringing back new customers or old customers or anything like that. This is if the brand had 300,000 sessions per month, this test has been run on all of those visitors. And what I mean by incrementally increasing revenue is we are basically, they would have spent, let's say, $250, but now they're going to spend, for example, $260 every time they come back. So we're generating extra profit per visitor that visits this website, okay? Now, here's how we done this through heat map analysis, scroll maps, and screen recordings, along with understanding completely about this client's demographic. Now, this is a client we've been working with for around 3 months at this stage, so we really knew their customer inside and out. And this is the power of CRO. The more you know the customer, the more you can start to get a better winning percentage of tests. Okay, so the problem, this particular brand has several different colors and variants of each product they sold. They have one product which is a pant for girls, so a trouser or a pant, depends where you're from. And What this does is it was their best seller, so it was their best selling SKU. Now they had a black, cream, and like five other colors. But when you visited the product page, all you could see was one color variant. So if they were on the black product, it was the black colored product. It just had one black circle variant. It didn't show the other variants. So the customer couldn't actually compare the products, compare and sort of contrast, if you want to call it. So what we were thinking of is when people come on the shop, they want to add a couple to their cart, compare them. They'll probably not buy exactly what's in their cart, but also when they're going to add it to their cart, they'll go to the product page. And then maybe if they want to compare another color, everyone likes certain colors on themselves, and this is super important to remember for clothing brands especially. So this is a great thing that they had, don't get me wrong. So what we also noticed was that everyone was clicking the breadcrumbs to go backwards. Okay, so they were all going to the product page and then going backwards. And what we thought was, are they clicking backwards due to not seeing the product or not being able to compare any other colors? So this then will give us a heap of ideas down the line. But then what we also found was they had a black variation of every other product. Then they had the same color variation of every other product. So all we done was test this on their main seller, and this got them this over 300K revenue increase yearly. Now, that's only on one variant, or that's only on one product. Imagine if we put this site wide to 100 products, the incremental increase is going to be massive. Now, how did we approach fixing this? So we done a complete analysis as per usual, and we used heat maps. So the heat map recording and the session recording showed us that customers would struggle to find what product they wanted because they had to keep clicking back and forth. Session recordings were the same. Now, there was no clear path for the customer to find more products. And this is where CRO comes into play. You want to have a seamless shopping experience. You don't want to have them having to click back and forth, extending the period that they have to mess about in the store with. They want to find what they're looking for, compare certain colors, and that is key. Okay. Now, what we then done was we added three variants. So we had the control, we had variant one, and we had variant two. Variant one had circle swatches, color swatches of all the colors, and variant two had image variants of the colors. Okay, so what I mean by that is instead of the circle swatches just with like a black, a cream, a navy, it was the black pant first product image, the cream pant first product image, and the navy pant first product image. Okay. So that what did that do? It allowed them to improve their revenue, conversion rate. More conversions were going to come along because they could compare what they wanted. Um, their satisfaction was going to increase because they weren't getting frustrated. There was no rage clicks, things like that. The results, 11.4% increase in revenue per visitor in 41 days. That also doesn't take into account of a 12.05% increase in conversions, just conversion rate, sorry, just on this variant, okay? So that's not site wide. Don't let people tell you that one change is going to do that to your site, okay? This is why it's so important to also test. You don't want to start running just like making changes and watching the conversion rate dashboard in your Shopify store because that doesn't take into account the fact that, there's macroeconomics. Nobody complains about the conversion rate in Black Friday. Um, Everyone complains about it in January because it's like one of the worst months in ecom because nobody has any money after Christmas. That's a macro trend. Did new creatives take over the ad account? Did you change ad targeting? Anything like that can swing things, okay? So that's why it's super important to test. Now, this meant a 34K minimum increase in monthly incremental revenue. We could probably actually round that up because it's way more. A 350K plus over the next, like over a yearly revenue increase. And we only ran this test for three different products, as I said. Now, what did we learn? Okay. So this is why it's super important. What did we learn? It was a massive success, and we now know the why behind it. This is why it's so important, okay? It's so important to understand why the test won as well, why the test didn't win. That can also happen. And we have that, 30 to 40% of the time tests don't win, but they actually tell you more than a winning test would. Because imagine if we had to implement that without testing, the client's going to be losing money over time without knowing. Okay, so we're actually saving money there, not really losing it. Again, these types of customers like to try on clothes, they see the materials, observe how it fits, see things visually, and on this client store, they do a lot of this really well. Okay, what does this lead to? A better overall experience. Now, if we talk about at its core, okay, understand that this is all just down to creating a frictionless experience. That's what we have to think about. How does this customer get from A to B to C back to A back to C? That's like you got to think of it like in a really complex way. How do they do this? Okay. Um, so how could you do this? Heat maps, scroll maps, quantitative data, qualitative data, and throughout my videos you'll be able to see how we do this, explain our SOPs, explain our actual research, and hopefully you can actually do this for your clothing brand, test it if you haven't. It could not be a winner, but it's about understanding your customer and seeing if it will win, okay? So hopefully you can learn something from this, guys. If you're interested in CRO and development at all for our agency, PM Digital, I'll leave my call links below, or above, I'm not sure where. And hopefully you can grab a call with myself and we can chat about if we can actually help your brand, okay? We work with 7 to 9 figure brands, primarily 8 to 9 figure to be honest, because we can get you better results. Okay, our team only works with a handful of clients. We'll put you in the pod section. You'll be assigned a zero specialist and all that good stuff. So if you're interested, book a call. Thank you very much for watching.